Dear students, we try and begin with chapter 3 from where we are leaving chapter 2, right? So chapter 2 we studied about what are the various classification or what are the various types of economic activities, and under that we took up business and we studied about the objectives. Now here in chapter 3 we'll further classify the business into industry and commerce, and then wind up the chapter accordingly. Now in this chapter 3, which says as classification of business activities, you will find broadly it is classified as industry and commerce, of course, which makes sense also, because in business, of course, there are two prime functions: one, producing, and second one, whatever you've produced, you sell that out, right? So if somebody has to take care of the responsibility of producing something, that is known as production. So industry takes up the activities of production, of producing various goods and services. And once the goods are being produced, then they need to be sold out to common people. And that is where we come with the role play of commerce, right? So we'll take up industry and commerce in detail. First part, you'll find they've given the definition of industry. I'm not reading or explaining here line by line because that we'll be doing in our online class. But as of now, industry is basically that unit of business that carries out the work of production. Then there are its characteristics like economic activity, production, wide scope, creation of utility, and so on. That's all written in their book. Nothing to worry. We'll be discussing it further to clear your doubts and all. But as far as the gross activities of industries are concerned, or characteristics are concerned, industry being an economic activity, because it is a wing of business, it results into creation of farm utility mostly. Then it gives economic development for the country and things like that. Then we have classification of the industry also. Classification of industry, broadly they are categorized as primary, secondary and tertiary. Under primary means related to agriculture or related to natural resources directly. So you have genetic and extractive. Genetic means where you deal with the genes of plants and animals. So examples being pisciculture, animal husbandry, poultry farming, pisciculture, all these are genetic industries. And extractive industries, where you're trying to explore, where you're trying to extract natural resources from what is naturally available in nature. So that's extractive industry, like quarrying, mining and lumbering, things like that. Then you come to secondary industries. Secondary industries are manufacturing and construction. Manufacturing being analytical, synthetical, processing, assembling. I'll be dealing with these four in detail in the class, but as of now for manufacturing, you need to know that when you're manufacturing commodities, whether it is assembling 2 or 3 materials, or you're breaking up a gross part into divisions and then constituting the byproducts, all that will be manufacturing. Construction is simple, all those industries that is related with the construction work of dams, bridges, household buildings, etc. Tertiary industry is that sector that provides services mostly. So that's the reason why it is called a tertiary industry. So banking, warehousing, technology importing, insurance, packaging, advertising, all those are tertiary industries. Now apart from this, that is nature of production, you can also categorize industries as size, on the basis of size. So you have micro, small, medium and large. Micro industries up to a value of 25 lakhs to 5 crores is small. Medium scale will be 5 crores to 10 crores, and large unit will be above 10 crores, right? And again, you've got on the basis of technology being used. So that's heavy industry, light industry. Heavy industry that deals with production of aircrafts and locomotives and machinery, whereas light industry with stationery, cosmetics, day-to-day use of used goods like pen, pencil, eraser, clothes, shoes, bags, all these things. Now, though I have said it and explained it in a flow, nothing to worry. Everything is retained line by line, word by word in your textbook, and we'll be taking this once more in the online class. Nothing to worry about that, right? So that was classification of the industries. Examples are a must. I repeat it once again. We come to role of small business in India. Small business means all those cottage industries, that may or may not be set up in cities mostly, but mostly they are being stationed in semi-urban and rural areas. So obviously they help in employment generation. They give those poor people work option, those who cannot come into bigger cities and they can't get work, isn't it? Next is balanced regional development. Only industrial areas will not develop, or only cities wouldn't prosper, but even the rural and the semi-urban places will also prosper through these cottage industries, because the moment you have small scale industry, automatically the infrastructure, communication, roadways of that place will increase. Optimization of capital, it means that because even poor people, even not so rich people, they are also getting a hold of money, so they can actually reinvest that and can grow and execute capital formation. Mobilization of local resources, that means that you bring in the local crowd into your group. Obviously that facilitates exchange earning, so they exchange their goods and commodities and earn money, and that results into egalitarian society. That means a spreaded out, economically a spreaded out society. That means money is not concentrating in hands of few, but it is being shared by everyone. And if such small industries are finishing trying to produce those commodities which are finished products in itself, you will find these small industries are also producing such finished items which actually cater to the larger industries, right? So they provide raw materials to the larger industries. Like suppose another industry that makes small looking glasses and mirrors, which are I'm sorry, which are actually an attachment in a car. So an automobile industry, an automobile manufacturing unit will actually tie up with this small industry and take those small mirrors and looking glasses and fix up into their machines. Are you understanding? So obviously that leads into social advantage also, because people are getting option of earning money. There's a healthy environment, employment generation, people have money in their hand, nobody is exploiting, all resources are used. So that's about social advantage. And then you've got small business serves in entrepreneurship also, like those who are not getting jobs in bigger organization, those who are not working under somebody else, obviously they've got the option of self-enterprising. The second wing of the chapter is about commerce and its nature. So commerce, as we all know, of course, it is an economic activity because it is a part of business. It will exchange with goods and it is the idea of selling goods and services to consumers, creating utility, not form utility, but place utility, time utility, and possession utility, because it is commerce through which goods and services reach their correct consumer, isn't it? There's regularity of transaction. Obviously, it's a part of business. So again, all these features have been directly discussed in your book, which we'll be taking up in the class furthermore when I take up the chapter. Next is functions and importance of commerce. Now, functions and importance of commerce will also give you the answer for various hindrances faced. Now, for those who are listening to this term for the first time, hindrance means obstacle. So, all the problems that you face while you're doing commercial transactions. So, it could be it could be a hindrance of person. That means the buyer and the seller, they don't know each other. What's the solution? A market area. What's the solution? Trade. When you incorporate trading practices, buyers and sellers will know each other. Next problem is with place. You don't know where to go. You don't know where to buy from. The seller doesn't know where to sell from. What's the solution? Market area. How will you reach the market area? Transport. So transportation is the solution for hindrance of place. Hindrance of time. You're producing now in bulk. Everybody is not buying the entire quantity. So you've got excess of material. What do you do with that? And at the same time, by just thinking that people will not buy the entire commodity, so I produce less, even that's not a rational decision, isn't it? So it's always sellers who go on producing and acquiring stuffs in advance in bulk quantities, so that later when that is being demanded in the market, people can get the commodity in time. So who will gauge that, time factor? Who will build up the bridge between supply and demand? That's the hindrance of time, which is sorted out by warehousing. So if you have a stock, if you have a warehouse, if you have a go down, then no matter how much in advance do you produce, you can store that and that can be taken up later, as in how demanded in the market. Next is hindrance of exchange. How to buy commodities? Who comes into your help? Bank. So if you don't have money, bank will provide you with money. There's risk involved. All entrepreneurs are, they are very, very scared of what happens if I put in money and then I don't get the return of money, then I don't get the reward. Obviously, that is a problem. That problem is sorted by insurance company. Insurance company says, okay, fine. You do a calculative risk, you take up calculative risk, you do your homework, you do your research work, and then you invest money. And if because of some uncontrollable factors your business suffers a loss, we are there to suffice and provide you monetary help. Right? So that is hindrance of risk, which is covered up by insurance. Hindrance of knowledge is how will you know which is the best product, where to buy it from, etc., etc. So who does that? Of course, it is being done by advertisement. Through ads, we get to come about, know various options, and we get to see how things are, which one is the best product or the service that I would like to buy. That leads us to understanding branches of commerce. There are two: trade and aids to trade. I repeat again, nothing to worry. You don't have to take down any notes, or just listen to what I'm saying very, very carefully, because everything is written in detail in your book, and we are going to follow that and take up once more in the class when we are meeting face to face. Branches of commerce, you've got trade and aids to trade. Trade, obviously, buying and selling. So again, that can be bifurcated into divisions: wholesale trade and retail trade for home trade, that is within a country. Wholesale, when you try and trade in bulk. Retail is when you try and deal with the commodities one-on-one with the consumer. If you go beyond the national boundary, you have foreign trade, and under foreign trade, you've got export, import, and entry port. Export, when you sell to the foreign country. Import, when you buy from the foreign countries. Now, new term, entry port. What does that mean? That is when you buy from a foreign country to sell it to some other foreign country. So say suppose India does a transaction with America and sells the goods not after self-consumption. They don't do self-consumption of those goods bought from America. They sell it to, say, Bangladesh, right? So I import from America to export to Bangladesh. So that is entry port. Further, I will again take up in the class. Next branch of commerce, further classification, is aids to trade. And if you can see the PDF that I've already shared with you, there you will see transportation, warehousing, insurance, banking, advertisement. All that has already been discussed. I think just a minute ago I've discussed all this as the solution for the hindrances. So aids to trade are nothing else but the answer to all the problems that commerce faces while trading the goods, right? So these are aids to trade or auxiliaries to trade. There are some other trades also, like modern means of communication, technology, and we all know how technology is playing such a vital role in these trying times, isn't it? Okay, next you have the comparison between industry, trade and commerce. This I'll be taking up individually in the class, in the online session when I have, because though you will be reading it in advance, like I'm already discussing it now, but then I will take it once more, because of course it's comparison. Three values are compared, and I've told you earlier also, you're not going to write one sentences or one line answers. That requires proper explanation. That's based on features of industry, trade and commerce. Next we come to interrelationship. Three quantities are obviously interdependent and interrelated. Why? Because if industry doesn't produce, what will commerce sell? If commerce doesn't try and sell, how will it face problems? And if it doesn't have problems, how will a trade and aids to trade help commerce to eradicate those problems and execute business? So that was it. And the last topic is economic basis of commerce, that is economic rationality, or why is commerce such an important part of economy. That is, people have different wants, so commerce suffices that. Division of labor is important because you make people do the right kind of work that they are required to do. Then there's, all geographical situations are not same. We have different places. Mountains have got different requirements. Plains and plateaus have got different requirements. So population living out of there have different demand. So we need to bridge that gap. So to suffice that, we need commerce, because commerce is that solution that provides a solution to demand for each and every individual. We circulate, we distribute the goods and services according to the need to all people, right? So more or less we've found, we are through with the chapter. We'll be taking up the discussion further in the online class. Nothing to worry. It's just that with the backup of this audio file, please read through the PDF file so that things become easier in our online session. Thank you, everyone.